It is Thursday, the 15th of August, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Today we're talking about an Australian band called Camp Cope. Now, we've talked about how, generally, if I discover a Canadian band or artist, it's usually through Loading Ready Run or Letterkenny, because those are Canadian content that I consume that reference a lot of other things. Well, similarly, with Australia, most Australian acts that I discover, especially indie acts, are because of Triple J's Like a Version. So Triple J is long-running Australian radio station, and they have a show called Like a Version, where they get a band or an artist in to do a cover of a song, any song. And then they also do one of their own originals, and those are uploaded to YouTube. And quite often I will just go onto the channel, go into the playlist, and see the most recent ones. And I'll look for a cover of a song I know and listen to that. And if I like the band covering it, I'll go listen to their original and then be like, okay, yeah, I like these guys. And then that'll be how I discover a new Australian band. Not everyone who comes and performs on are Australian, but the vast majority are. I mean, they've had other people on, like fucking Childish Gambino was on, Haim were on at one point, but most of the people on it are like more local bands. And so it's a great way to discover them. I actually mentioned this show before when I was talking about Good Luck Babe. Chloe did a cover of that song on Like a Version. So, Camp Cope did a cover of the song Maps by the AAS, and I really liked their cover, so I went and listened to the original song, which was a song called Lost Season 1. And immediately I was like, okay, well, I love Lost, the TV show, so already I'm into the title, and I ended up really liking the song. So, I haven't listened to all of the rest of their stuff. I've listened to the album this song is on. There's also a really good song on this album called Jet Fuel Can't Melt Steel Beams, which is certainly a title, but that's kind of the point. But I haven't listened to their other two albums. They broke up last year. I don't really know why, but they did. So they only have the three albums, so I should really listen to the other two. But anyway, today we're talking about this song, Lost Season 1. And why are we talking about it today? Well, because I'm a fucking nerd. And I often think of different days I can do different songs, and some of them make sense. I know what I'm doing on Christmas. I know what I'm doing on Halloween. But I was looking at my list of songs I wanted to do, and this one was here, and I was like, well, Lost famously has a bunch of numbers that have significance in them. 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. And specifically, 8 and 15 come up a lot because the flight that gets lost in the show is Flight 815. And today's date is the 15th of the 8th, or if you're American, 815. So here we are. That's what we're doing. Because I'm a fucking nerd. Anyway, we're going to listen to the song now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. I love the driving energy of the drums right from the first one. You really get drawn into the song, especially with the bass line throughout as well. There's like a particular genre that I discover on Triple J a lot, which is indie rock women bands that all have kind of a similar-ish sound that I really enjoy. And this is one of them. This is like an archetypal example. Alex Leahy's kind of up there as well. I can't think of others off the top of my head, but there's a bunch of them. But anyway, so what I think is so interesting about this song is that, you know, it drew me in with its title referencing the TV show Lost, because I love Lost. And it references it in the song lyrics in kind of a throwaway moment, but it makes it hit harder for me for some reason, because the whole lyrical theme is about the feeling of being lost. And so at the start, it feels like she's just kind of like offhandedly referencing the TV show Lost, but then she just keeps mentioning being lost throughout the song, and it makes you think, well, maybe she was watching Lost because subconsciously she felt lost, sort of thing, right? And I don't know, it just ties in with it really well, despite it being seemingly a meaningless cultural reference to a TV show that was, 12 years old by the time this song came out. This song is from their first album from 2016, and Lost started in 2004 and ended in 2010. I watched every single episode as it aired. I've had serious conversations with myself about whether my next podcast should just be me watching Lost. Anyway, I'm a big fan. But let's talk about the lyrics more. How it always ends up like this, two lovers staring at each other through a phone screen. Lost. For this, I really can't find the time, trying to keep running with my life, because if I stop, I'm lost. The lyrics seem to be about the narrator has like drifted away from someone that they are kind of like wishing the best. They're kind of wishing them well, you know, but they're feeling lost in life without them. They're kind of contemplating whether that other person feels lost and wishing they could be not lost again. Basically is how it is. And so how it always ends up like this is a telling opening line, like, oh, this has happened before. It always ends up like this. Two lovers staring at each other through a phone screen, implying some distance. And I think she's she's kind of saying, like, I always end up drifting apart from people, you know. For this, I really can't find the time trying to keep running with my life, because if I stop, I'm lost. So, you know, just always trying to keep herself busy, distract herself, because if she doesn't, she'll feel lost. It'll be empty, you know. Hope you know where you are. I hope someone's lent you their guitar, and I know you're out feeling everything, and I'm in bed watching season 1 of Lost. So she's kind of like wishing the other person well, like I said, but it also seems like she's saying, like, you know, you're probably flourishing, you're out feeling everything, and I'm in bed watching season 1 of Lost. Like, I'm not doing anything important. I'm just watching an old TV show, you know. Someone on Genius thinks that the I hope someone's lent you their guitar is a reference to Charlie Pace from Lost, who is the musician in The Crash, played by Dominic Monaghan, based on the Gallaghers of Oasis. And I think that's an interesting idea. And I wouldn't put it past them making another Lost reference, but I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's just referring to other musicians, you know. Keep running to save face. We're still living like dogs in space, lost with so little direction. So Dogs in Space is a classic Australian film about the music scene in Melbourne in the 70s, and that's what that's referring to there. We're still living like dogs in space, lost with so little direction. So, I mean, again, referencing like both of the people in this conversation are musicians is the implication. They're both Australian musicians. Of course, I haven't forgotten you, such an impossible thing to do, but if I look back, I'm lost. So, you know, of course she hasn't forgotten them. Of course, she is unable to move on, but if she stays looking back at the past, she's lost. You know, she gets lost in the past, and she can't let herself do that. Hope you know where you are. I hope you feel like you've gotten far, and maybe you were told you were special one too many times and now you're lost. Big gifted kid burnout energy off that lyric. You were told you were special one too many times and now you're lost. People putting this importance on you and then not knowing what to do when you become independent, you know. And then the bridge is just over and over again. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe I'll never get it. Over and over and over, and then I'm just lost. This part really hits me because she starts yelling as she goes. I've talked about how I very much enjoy when singers suddenly start yelling midline, and she doesn't suddenly start yelling midline, but I just love the build-up of it, of the maybe I don't get it, and then it evolves into the maybe I'll never get it, I'm just lost. Like, she's really giving it socks. Like, it's really loud and really shows the emotion, you know. I really love how that sounds. Now it always ends up like this. It's just me staring at couples across the street and they look so clean and happy, but I don't want to end up like that, going through the motions of lying in bed back to back, how it always ends up like that. So she's saying here how she misses, you know, the relationship. She's staring at couples across the street who look happy and missing that, but then she's like, I don't want that because it always ends up with drifting apart, and then it references back to the first line, how it always ends up like that, how it always ends up like this, right? So it's kind of a cyclical thing here. She's talking about how she misses the relationship because she thinks that if she gets back in a relationship, it'll just end up drifting apart again. She'll be stuck in the same situation. She'll be lost. And then the final chorus, I want to be losers forever, drink coffee in bed together, and not talk to anyone, and figure out what it is that we had lost. What it is that we had lost. First two lines here are a reference to a song by Tiger's Jaw called Two Worlds. The lyric is a hearing aid and glasses, coffee in bed, I want to be a loser forever, man. And the lyric here is I want to be losers forever, drink coffee in bed together. So it seems to be referring to that, and apparently in the liner notes it references that they reference that band. So it seems to be directly taken from that song, which is interesting. And yeah, I want to be losers forever, drink coffee in bed together, and not talk to anyone. And so, like, she's talking about having that thing of being in bed together, even though she figures it'll drift apart again. And then the figure out what it is that we had lost. And this is what I love about it just coming full circle, because it starts off with the first chorus ending with the reference to Lost Season 1. You kind of chuckle like, ho, that's funny. And then she's here screaming about what it is that we had lost. And it's just punching you in the gut. Like, it really hits you hard with that, you know. I really like it. I don't think I have much else to say about it. It's just a really good song. I love the wordplay in it, the references to other songs and movies and whatnot. And of course, the TV show Lost. Yeah, I really enjoy it. You should listen to their cover of Maps that I mentioned as well. I'll link it below, of course. And I should really listen to the rest of them, shouldn't I? Anyway, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Please give a like, hit subscribe, leave a comment, tell other people about this show. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
This part really hits me because she starts yelling as she goes. I've talked about how really is these what it is that we had lost. Anyway,